Welcome back to Merlin's Corner, haven for wanton and criminal speculation. Today's topic, what's left in Lorcana's The First Chapter. Despite not coming out until August, just over 2 months from date of recording, Ravensburger has already revealed over 80 cards for Lorcana, which is a lot more than you would expect from, say, an upcoming Magic the Gathering set this far out. However, that's still a little less than half of the expected 204 cards of the full set of the first chapter. So, what's left to see? There's two parts to this, flavor and mechanics. Let's start with the former. For flavor, we've had characters, items, and actions pulling from 22 films of the Disney animated canon. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, Fantasia, Cinderella, Alice in Wonderland, Peter Pan, Sleeping Beauty, 101 Dalmatians, The Sword in the Stone, Robin Hood, Winnie the Pooh, The Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, The Lion King, Hercules, Mulan, The Emperor's New Groove, Lilo and Stitch, The Princess and the Frog, Tangled, Frozen, and Moana, as well as from the Mickey and Friends franchise. Notably, this includes every non-Pixar princess movie apart from Pocahontas and Raya and the Last Dragon. So far, some of these movies have only had a single card representing them, and I'm highly skeptical that that's all we'll be getting from them. Logistically, I don't think there's room for any more franchises. We may see one or two more, but I think it's more likely we will just see more from these. Ravensburger have shown they're perfectly willing to make multiple iterations of the same character, so I think we'll be getting variants on a focused core group of characters rather than single cards for a cast of thousands. We've already seen several pieces of art for cards that haven't been revealed yet. Hakuna Matata, a Cusco, a Pongo, a Merlin, an Evil Queen, an Ariel, and a Lilo that clearly and hilariously has a body count. We've also had a reference to Gaston, so expect at least one card for him. In addition to these, I would expect to see the rest of the princesses get cards, as well as maybe Madame Mim, Maui, and the minors. I think it's notable that we haven't seen anything from Pinocchio, Lady and the Tramp, The Jungle Book, Wreck-It Ralph, or Zootopia. I think it's likely they're being saved for subsequent sets. Once Wish releases this year, there will be 62 films in the canon, so it's possible each of the first 3 sets will use a third of them just to get a baseline, and they're just using the most popular movies in the first set to grab attention. Imagine trying to sell Lorcana out of the gate with Ichabod Crane, Princess Eilonwy, and Aladar the Iguanodon. Though it's also possible that certain more reviled members of the canon will just be ignored entirely. May we never get a Roseanne Cow card. I also doubt we'll get anything from Pixar or live-action franchises, at least for this first year or so of sets. With that out of the way, let's talk mechanics. I'd like to break this section into 3 parts. What's been hinted at and needs more, incomplete. What hasn't been seen but I think is needed, missing. And what I don't think will show up at all in this first set, future. First up in the incomplete section, strength manipulation and stat manipulation in general. We've seen a few cards that reduce opposing character strength, but we haven't seen anything that raises the strength of your characters apart from Heihei's support. We also haven't seen anything that manipulates willpower, which seems a fairly obvious and simple thing to have. By that I mean setting an opposing character's willpower to 1 for the turn, not permanent stat increases, which would likely require counters or tokens, which we won't see in the first set. We've also seen a couple cards that increase lore output, and I'm guessing we'll see more of that, and maybe something that decreases opposing lore output. Speaking of lore stealing! Right now this is only present on Aladdin Heroic Outlaw, and I really hope we see more instances of this. Maybe even an action that just causes your opponent to lose lore. Being able to drain your opponent's lore will add a lot of depth to the game by enabling control decks. Next, a couple keywords. Rush and Reckless have only been seen being given to a character, and I think we'll see some characters that just have those keywords natively. Finally, Forced Exertion. So far we've only seen this on Elsa's Snow Queen, and I'd love to see more of this. This game definitely needs more ways to deal with pillow forting, and I'll talk more about that in the missing section. Speaking of, what's missing? First and foremost, board clears. All of the removal we've seen so far has been single target. We need cards that blow up the whole board. Most likely a banish all characters card would be Ruby, while a deal X damage to all characters would be Steel. Maybe Emerald has a mass Reckless card. Not only are these great control tools, but they also get around Ward, and right now double Aurora Dreaming Guardian is very hard to deal with. Every mechanic needs counterplay. You want your game to be rock, paper, scissors, not a food chain. On that note, unbanishable cards? Someone who would be immune to Dragonfire and would just never die in a challenge. It would definitely be tricky to balance and would likely not be inkable, but it would make bouncing to hand and inking removal more appealing. A little thing, non-quest lore game. Kinda related to Aladdin's lore stealing, unchallenging, but an item or action that can gain you lore would be neat. Finally, tutors. We've seen quite a bit of card draw already, but nothing that searches your deck for a specific card. I'm pretty sure we'll see at least one card that does this, either for a specific card type or even name or for anything. Okay, so what won't we see? I think eventually we will see multi-ink cards, but not in this first set. Ravensburger needs to delineate the inks, defining what their specific roles are individually before they start mixing them. I also don't think we'll see anything like equipment or auras, that is, items that attach to characters and give them some ability. This set is for introducing core concepts and needs to keep simple. I'd love to see items that attach, but it won't be here. Finally, reactions. One of the things people love about Magic the Gathering is the interaction. When your opponent does something, you can respond. Even if it's just something like Yu-Gi-Oh! Trap cards or Hearthstone Secrets, there should be cards that are triggered during your opponent's turn when they do something. Maybe something like a counterspell, or maybe just something to punish your opponent for being greedy by drawing or getting out a character for free. There's a lot of possibility here, and I think it's a wasted, fallow field of design space if it's never tapped. Exerted. That's all the ideas I have. If there's something you think the first chapter still needs, or that you just would really love to see in the game, feel free to add it to the comments. Unlike most YouTubers, I actually read them. I have way too much free time.